Hi, my name is Alex, and today my mom and I are going to be teaching you how to make arroz con habichuelas, which is Puerto Rican rice and beans. With only a few simple ingredients and some proper technique, you can get authentic flavor right at home. We will be cooking in a cast aluminum pot. If you do not have one, any other rice pot will do, but the cast aluminum helps create the pegao, which is kind of a crispy, almost burnt layer at the bottom of the rice, which is really traditional when serving. First, my mom will completely coat the bottom of the cast pot with oil on medium-high heat. Next up is the sofrito. You can make your own or buy it pre-made at the store. It is basically the spice base for almost all Puerto Rican cooking. There are many ingredients in it, some being bell peppers, garlic, onion, cilantro, and more. It creates the flavor of the rice, and it usually is up to personal preference how much you add. My mom usually sticks to adding about 5 tablespoons for 2 cups of rice. Then she adds the sazon. She usually uses 1 packet. It's a spice pack that's a bit salty, but is used primarily to give the rice a distinct orange color. Next, it's time to prepare the pink kidney beans. You want to strain a whole 15.5-ounce can of beans and rinse them really well. It's kind of strange, but they might look a little bit sudsy when you start rinsing them, so you want to make sure you completely rinse them until all the little bubbles are gone. It's basically just because of a film on the bean. Next, you can add your desired amount of beans. My mom usually puts the whole can in, but it's really up to personal preference. And then you want to mix it in with all those spices so they infuse inside the beans. Now it's time to get ready to add salsa. My mom and aunts often have differing opinions on whether using Spanish tomato sauce or salsa is better, but they both basically work the same, and I can't really tell a big flavor difference. Here we're just using a mild salsa, and we're putting in about 2.5 tablespoons of it. My mom makes sure to thoroughly combine everything so all the flavors are evenly distributed. Now it's finally time to add the rice. For this, my mom is using about 2 cups of white Spanish rice. Note that my mom is adding the rice in before putting in any water into the pot. This is so the individual grains of rice absorb more flavor before being watered down. Now for water. It's usually a 1-to-1 ratio, so here we'll be using 2 cups of water. However, my mom recommends that you reserve the second cup and add little bits at a time to make sure you don't add too much. My mom has a trick to make sure that there's enough water. You stick a spoon into the rice, and if it stands up, it's ready. If it doesn't, you have too much and you need to take some out like we did here. It doesn't need to stand for long periods of time, just for a second or two. Now it's time to let the rice start drying out. You want to make sure that the heat is still medium-high because the rice will be brought to a boil. And then all of the beans and grains of rice will absorb all of the flavor. You also want to make sure you're not stirring it. By not stirring, you make sure that the pegao layer is created on the bottom. You really only stir it once, and that's right before you put the lid on. Once it's dried out, stir once, cover it, and put the heat on low for about 30 minutes. Then, taste the rice and make sure it's moist, but it's not at all watery. Puerto Rican rice tends to be a little bit drier, so that's normal. Then you can serve it right out of the pot with your favorite meal or just by itself. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.